Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and I've rounded up 10 of what I think are the best and also the most exciting gaming monitors of 2022 so far. And if you are thinking of upgrading this year, let me know what you've got your eye on in the comments below. And if you enjoy the video and want to see more from me, then a cheeky like and subscribe would be lovely. Alright, so let's kick off with not this one actually, we'll come back to this. I want to talk about the Alienware QD OLED Ultrawide. I have no doubt you've already seen this because it's possibly one of the best gaming monitors ever made. Although the AW3423DW name isn't the most exciting. But with actual genuine HDR performance, thanks to the per pixel dimming of the Quantum Dot OLED panel from Samsung, and it basically takes the best of OLED, adding that Quantum Dot layer for brightness, and then on top we get gaming features like 175Hz refresh, G-Sync Ultimate, a Quad HD resolution, and it's a 34-inch 21:9 display. Beyond that, we're looking at 1000 nit peak brightness, we have high P3 color accuracy, fast response time, and also display HDR 400 true black support, which is good, but surprisingly low when you consider the advertised peak brightness. Although latency doesn't seem to be quite as good as more traditional LCD panels, and also there's no HDMI 2.1 support, which makes it a little bit less ideal for consoles, but since we haven't got a 4K resolution, you're not going to hit that sort of bandwidth cap. Okay, moving on, and Samsung have basically taken the same panel from the Alienware, because, well, they made it, and dropped it into their own equally tasty looking Samsung Odyssey OLED G8 monitor. It does miss out on G-Sync Ultimate, but is otherwise pretty much identical. Same QD OLED panel, same 1800R curve, same 175Hz refresh, and same Quad HD resolution. And so pricing should be similar as well, and to be honest, I'd be more than happy with either, so it might come down to cost and availability. But what if you just can't decide between a flat and a curved monitor? I know these are real problems, but why not have both? Well, say hello to Corsair's new Xeneon Flex 45-inch bendable OLED monitor. Designed by Corsair and using an LG panel, you can adjust the screen from flat up to an 800R curve, which I must admit I do find more immersive, particularly for racing games, but then if the distortion and the reflection start to annoy you, then you can just flatten it back out. Simple. And you adjust it by literally grabbing the handles on either side, which can feel like you're breaking it, and of course we don't know about long-term durability yet, but it's certainly a cool idea. And it's a huge 45-inch 21:9 screen with a 240Hz refresh and 1000 nit peak brightness. Now, if you like the look of the Corsair but don't fancy paying the premium for that bending mechanism, then check out this 45-inch LG OLED Ultrawide. Feature-wise, the panel is almost identical to the Corsair, being QHD with a 240Hz refresh, but the fixed 800R curve means it should be a fair bit cheaper. And of course, it's an OLED, so expect the same great black levels and punchy colors. But like the Corsair, the only downside is that they're not 4K, so at that 45-inch screen size, they're not going to be the sharpest. Now, I'm not saying bigger is always better, but if you do want a gaming monitor on your desk, then look no further than the LG UltraGear 48GQ900B, a massive 48-inch 4K 138Hz OLED gaming monitor. It's basically a 48-inch OLED LG TV, but with a faster refresh and some more monitor-like features like DisplayPort, as well as an anti-glare and anti-reflective coating on the screen, and we don't have to worry about auto-dimming. So being OLED, colors look fantastic, blacks are deep and inky, and it gets brighter than most OLED TVs as well. And the size really helps you make the most of that 4K resolution, although for me, I reckon it's just a bit too big for everyday use on a desk. There's also G-Sync, FreeSync Premium, HDR10, along with HDMI 2.1 ports, so it's ideal for both PC and consoles. I was about to say it's not cheap at $1,500, but then looking at these other monitors that I'm talking about, and actually another ASUS one which I'll come onto in a second, actually, for the size, it's not crazy expensive, which blows my mind how expensive monitors are at the moment. But I know what you're thinking, because I agree, 48 inches is just too bloody big. Even on this 100cm depth desk, I have tried it, and I must admit, it did give me a bit of eye strain and actually led to some headaches. I find 48 inches too big unless you're gonna wall mount it or have it on a table separately and you're using Xbox controllers or Bluetooth peripherals. For me, I think 42 inches is a much more comfortable size. Still big, but not overwhelming. Now, a big thank you to Surfshark VPN for very kindly sponsoring this video, because whatever your setup looks like, staying safe and protected online is so important. Which is why I use Surfshark, because there's an app for pretty much every device. There's even a handy Chrome extension. One account lets you use an unlimited number of devices, which is great for the family, or if maybe you're a tech YouTube creator and switch phones and laptops all the time. And because their clean web tool is fantastic, as it helps prevent ads, tracking, malware, and other nasty stuff while you're browsing. Most of the time though, I'm switching to a US server and watching a cheeky bit of American Netflix, as VPNs let you access most region-locked streaming services. And with thousands of servers in dozens of countries, it's fast, reliable, and I use it all the time. So if you do fancy giving Surfshark a try, click the link in the description below or use the code TechChap at the checkout to get a whopping 83% off and 3 months extra for free. And with a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's nothing to lose. But sadly, the LG doesn't come in a 42-inch variant, so have a look at this instead. The 42-inch ROG Swift OLED PG42UQ, which as it happens does also come in 48 inches if you really want. And it's almost identical to the LG, with 138Hz refresh, G-Sync, FreeSync Premium, HDMI 2.1, but it comes with that more gamery ASUS ROG styling and also some pretty beefy cooling so it can sustain the high brightness. For me, right now, I would say this is my favorite gaming monitor, and it'll cost you £1,400 or $1,500 if you want the 48-inch. Okay, moving on, and we have the Samsung Odyssey Neo G8. This was actually the world's first 4K 240Hz monitor, and availability is actually pretty good. So I reviewed this a few weeks ago, and I really liked it, especially the 32-inch mini LED panel, although that quite severe 1000R curve on a monitor this size isn't everyone's cup of tea, and I think I personally prefer without. Even so, image quality is great. Samsung claim up to 2000 nits of peak brightness, and it does dim quite quickly, but it is still brighter than almost any other monitor on the market, and the almost 1200 local dimming zones means this isn't a million miles off OLED levels of contrast. We get FreeSync Premium Pro, 1 millisecond response time, but really the headline is that 4K 240Hz refresh. It's buttery smooth for gaming and just general desktop and work use. Although the only caveat is it's nearly impossible to hit 4K 240 in demanding games right now. Maybe the upcoming RTX 4000 series will get you closer. Okay, time to throw in a bit of a wild card. Let me show you the Samsung Odyssey Arc. This whopping great curved 55-inch OLED gaming monitor that can also, for some reason, rotate vertically. Think of it as a tech demo concept that someone snuck into full production. This is actually the world's biggest dedicated gaming monitor with a quantum mini LED VA 4K panel, up to 2000 nits of brightness, although again it's Samsung, so bear that in mind, a beefy speaker system, and of course that curvier than curved 1000R display. There really is a trend towards OLED and curved gaming monitors at the moment. OLED, I'm all behind. Curved, I'm not sure. I appreciate in some games like Flight Sim or Forza, racing games in particular, I think it is a lot more immersive, maybe RPGs as well, but you don't really want that for FPSs. Having stuff in your peripheral vision is immersive, but not actually helpful when you want to spot the bad guy and take the shot before he does. Also for watching videos and movies, if you do any kind of editing, I do a lot of video editing on my monitor, not ideal, so most of the time I want either a very gentle curve or a flat screen. But what do you reckon, flat or curvy? Monitors, which do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. Also, unlike a 55-inch TV, the Arc gets a 165Hz refresh and multi-view, which lets you have multiple inputs on screen side by side, which kind of makes that bigger size more useful. You get Samsung's usual smart TV features, as well as this very clever and also ginormous Arc dial control. Okay, so let's come back to reality a little bit, because now I do want to talk about this guy that I have on my desk. This is the Eve Spectrum, although actually they recently rebranded to Doe. So while the box still says Eve, this is the Doe Spectrum, which has been out for the best part of a year now, although this is the new glossy version. Which seems a bit counterproductive for a gaming display, but actually, I found I really like it. You get better perceived contrast and richer colors at the expense of more reflections. And also it does cost more, which is a bit annoying. It kind of reminds me of playing on a TV or even, I don't know, say like an Apple display with its more vivid, contrasty look. I really do quite like it actually. Going back to regular matte gaming panels almost look a little bit washed out next to this. But like the regular Spectrum, we're also getting a high-end 27-inch 4K 144Hz panel. It's nano IPS, so no mini LED or OLED here sadly, and also G-Sync compatible with FreeSync Premium Pro, and it supports HDR10 and Display HDR 600, along with some pretty impressive color accuracy, so you could use this as a work monitor as well. Plus we get DisplayPort 1.4, USB-C with 100-watt charging, and HDMI 2.1. And it costs about £1,000, so if you want a relatively compact 4K high refresh gaming and maybe / work monitor, I think the EVE Spectrum Glossy is worth a look. Or, alternatively, maybe the new Sony InZone M9. Now I reviewed this a few weeks ago and I would say it's a good monitor, but maybe not the best on the market, and I guess that could maybe also be applied to this. But the advantage is it's a similar price to this, but we get mini LED, so slightly better contrast, although a matte not glossy screen, and also a couple of bespoke PS5 features. So if your budget is around that £1,000 mark, definitely look at both the Dove Spectrum and also the Sony InZone M9. And finally, if you're into your esports or just want the best competitive advantage, then you're going to want a super duper high refresh display. And we're now just starting to see 480 or even 500 Hz gaming monitors, like this guy, the 24-inch 1080p ASUS Swift 500 Hz. Now I reckon anything above 240 is a case of diminishing returns, and also to hit that full 500 FPS will require an insanely beefy system unless you're playing CSGO, and maybe even more exciting is the Swift's built-in NVIDIA Reflex Analyzer, which gives you live latency figures, which you can then minimize by tweaking monitor settings to get the most responsive experience. And we should see more models getting this analyzer in the future, because actually reducing latency has a bigger impact on your competitiveness even over higher refreshes. And so NVIDIA Reflex and Radeon's anti-lag can make a massive difference. The ASUS Swift uses an ETN esports panel, which also has a low response time and G-Sync, but of course being a TN variant, don't expect colors or contrast to match anything like a mini LED IPS or a QD OLED. And also expect to pay a hefty price, although this really is a specialist esports display. Now, to be fair, I did say these are the best gaming monitors of the year so far, not the most affordable or most available even. I do appreciate a lot of those are very expensive, but as always, we do see trickle down of technologies as more high-end monitors come out, more OLEDs, more high refresh, then it makes everything else cheaper. And also, if you are considering buying one of the new generation GPUs from NVIDIA or AMD, now also may be a good time to upgrade your monitor as well. There's no point getting 300 FPS in your games if you're still stuck on a 144 Hz or dare I say 60 Hz monitor. But what's your setup right now? What are you using, and are you thinking of upgrading? And if so, to what model? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, guys. A like and subscribe would be very much appreciated, and I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chat. Oh, and don't forget to give Surfshark VPN a try. Just click the link below or use the code TechChat to get 83% off and 3 months extra for free.